Nasa lisihan tayo dito. Hindi natin dapat ito palampasin. Gobyerno pa ba ito o salisigang? We have been duped again. Not only did illegal supplies of sugar slip through our ports, but the government led the public to believe that it would halt and investigate any contraband. It is truly disheartening to see that instead of fixing the supply of sugar in the country, the Sugar Regulatory Administration has prioritized legalizing thousands of metric tons of smuggled sugar. Not only was the crime of large-scale agricultural smuggling consummated, government is also a willing and enthusiastic sponsor and enabler. It has been 2 full months since we first exposed this modus. I feel that we could have put an end to their greed if we had had the opportunity to fully investigate this conspiracy. Proper charges could have been filed against Yusek Panganiban. We could have helped the SRA become a more honest and fearless champion of the industry. We could have already blacklisted the smugglers and brought down the sugar prices in the market. The President did not sign the assailed sugar order used to cover up the smuggling operation by Yusek Panganiban and the 3 importers. But it appears to be very clear to Yusek Panganiban and to all obedient officials from Malacanang, SRA, and BOC, meaning Executive Secretary Bersamin, former SRA Chief Alba, SRA Deputy Administrator Tejida, and BOC Commissioner Rubio, that the Emperor wants something and his wishes should not be frustrated. The President even took a photo with the 3 so-called smugglers and Panganiban. That photo, the one they took during their meeting on January 25, is the real sugar order. What they want is crystal clear. This is why 260 containers of sugar consigned to all Asian countertrade arrived by February 9, after the Kodak Moment meeting on January 25. But way before Sugar Order 6 was published. This is apparently how things work under Malacanang and this new cartel that can hardly wait. From then to now, I stand with our stakeholders from the sugar sector. A sugar order is a requirement under the law. There can be no imports if there are no sugar orders. An SRA sugar order is our very imperfect instrument for balancing the welfare of farmers, planters, and millers on the one hand, and of consumers and food manufacturers on the other hand, who must also rely on imports to augment the limited supply. In this fiasco, thousands of tons of sugar arrived in the country with no accompanying sugar order or other permits. However, SRA dubiously ironed out all kinks within the subsequent 2 months. Additional memos, a pile of clearances, dubious reading of the calendar. All of these were resorted to in order to secure the release of the contraband supply. There is no doubt that they are trying to straighten what is crooked. This is legal cover-up at its finest, or its most gross, and it has failed miserably. That is why they are afraid of facing us. The fish will always be caught by its mouth. In this case, Yusek Panganiban went ahead of the formal process and released his own sugar order to allow the 3 favored importers to corner the 450,000 metric tons of sugar that the country needs to import. He brazenly even claimed that there is no difference between his own sugar order and the one later issued by the SRA. The ending? The regulator has become the smuggler. Those who are supposed to be in charge of overseeing the supply chain have become the architects of a cartel. Mr. President and Agriculture Secretary, I am asking again. This supply of sugar entered the country without a sugar order. There was no process. There was no formula. How many smoking guns do we need before we right this massive injustice to the sugar industry? Panganiban effectively bypassed the legal mandate of the SRA. Since when did a mere memorandum from the Office of the Executive Secretary become superior to a sugar order required by law? And if such sugar orders are not needed before imports land on our shores, what is the purpose of our regulatory agency? If a simple memo can authorize the importation of goods, then what do we even need the SRA for? The Bureau of Customs, sadly, did not even look for a sugar order. They wholly accepted the so-called clearance from the SRA, despite clear signs that the supply which arrived on February 9 was smuggled. Why do we even have lawyers and legal officers in customs if they do not even read our laws and choose to follow without question the flawed orders forced by Yusek Panganiban on former SRA Administrator Alba and his deputy Tejida and others? Worst of all, the various explanations by the SRA and BOC have done little to bring down the price of sugar to 65 pesos per kilo. This is despite the continued release of sugar imported by the three favored companies. We shouldn't be surprised. High prices are to be expected when we are constrained to buy from the select few who have cornered our sugar supply. Where are the supplies of sugar which will supposedly be distributed to our kadiwa stores? While some sugar stocks will be sold, I doubt if these stocks will include those consigned to the favored firms, All Asian Countertrade, Edison Lee Marketing, and Sukden Philippines. Our government institutions are being turned into smugglers, while Filipinos are being fed false hopes. The nation has been duped again. We should not let this go unanswered.